my chuckle for the day. Jeffrey in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, Jeffrey, what's on your mind?
Hey, Tom, in this country, we're number one in world education when our school is funded, and number 32 when our schools are not funded. And they created the lottery system to fund the school. And, for example, this guy last week won $330 million and just $140 lump sum. That means $190 million was left. Why didn't that go to the school?
Well, the school money was skimmed off the top before the money went into the lottery. So, and I'm not an advocate or a fan of lotteries to fund schools, but a lot of states have them, and it's because here's what's happened, Jeffrey. Let me just lay out the history of this. Every piece of our commons, something that we the people put together and said, we're going to do this for ourselves. Our postal service. It's in the Constitution. The founders said the post office is part of the commons. It's in Article 1, Section 8, Sentence 7 of the Constitution. Congress is authorized to build post offices and roads for the post office, postal roads. So this is us doing something for ourselves. The post office, the police departments, the fire departments, the schools. These are things that promote the general welfare. And historically, Americans have always been on board about, in favor of. And in fact, in the 1950s, the 1960s, we had some of the very best public school systems in the world. The best performing. I mean, we produced a generation of scientists. We put a man on the moon. We invented Teflon. We invented the transistor. I mean, the amazing stuff that came out of our public school systems in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, incredible. So a bunch of guys who are looking for ways to make money, they say, hey, one of the easiest ways to make money is to control something that people have to have. If you're selling, widgets, you're selling computers, something like that, everybody doesn't have to have that. But pretty much any parent will tell you that they have to have education for their kids. I mean, their kids have to have education. So, if their parents have to have education, if the kids have to have education, then the parents, they're going to pay for it. And Elizabeth Warren, do you have that clip of Elizabeth Warren that we used for the TV show last night? It's just 1 minute. It was out of her 2008 speech where she was talking about how housing values go up. Well, I can just tell you about it. That's okay. We don't need to play it. But what Elizabeth Warren said in this speech that she gave, 5 years ago, predicting the demise of the middle class, was that homeowners, that a 3-point, as I recall, maybe it was a 5-point difference in third grade outcomes can cause a change in the value of homes in a neighborhood on the magnitude of tens of thousands of dollars, because people are basically buying schools. So the we want to get rich class, the billionaire class, the conservative billionaire class, the hey, let's look for a way to squeeze more money out of Americans class. They said, well, this is interesting. We could make money if we controlled the commons of the schools. And not only could we make money, but we could also use these schools. This was part of, in 1973, or 71 rather, this is part of Lewis Powell's memo to the Chamber of Commerce. Get control of the schools and you can influence the next generation. We could start, if we had control of the schools, we could start teaching Frederick von Hayek and von Mises and Ayn Rand and all this kind of stuff, and we can raise a generation of conservative robots. So how do you do that when school teachers are generally liberal and they're union members? God forbid. So what they did was they started encouraging what I call flat earthers, people who are usually religious zealots, saying, it's wrong that our schools would be teaching about evolution. Or it's wrong that our schools would be teaching that the Earth is more than 6,000 years old. There's a debate about that, you know? Or it's wrong that a teacher would be discussing global warming. We can't have that. It's wrong that there be a teacher doing sex ed. There's this teacher, I think it was in Tennessee. There's a big story, going around the internet yesterday or the day before about a teacher used the word vagina in a sex ed class. And, the school board's coming down on him like a ton of bricks. Well, they get these religious folks on the school boards, and then you come down on these people like a ton of bricks. It turns out this was a teacher who also every year showed Al Gore's Inconvenient Truth movie. He said, I'm not saying it's so or it ain't so. And he shouldn't even have to say that, by the way. And, but please write a paper telling me what you think of this. And they're trying to get him out of the school. And they're using this, use of the word vagina in a sex ed class as an excuse. But really, I think it's about, the oil barons saying, the Koch brothers and all their front groups and whatnot saying. So what do? They get these folks on the school boards, these single issue folks on the school boards, whether it's the sex ed single issue or it's the anti-evolution single issue, or it's the climate change single. They get these folks on the school board, and those folks basically start putting the screws on the schools. Let's weed out the liberal teachers. Well, how do you do that? Well, let's cut back on their pay. Let's restrict their hours. Let's change the curriculum. And pretty soon, good teachers just start saying to hell with it. We've gone from having one of the most stable school systems in the world in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and into the early years of the Reagan administration, the Reagan Revolution, where teachers went into teaching and they stayed there for 20 years, 30 years, retired out, from having one of the most stable systems in the world to now, today, the single profession which has the highest churn rate of all the professions which require a college education is public education, teaching. Teachers are under assault everywhere. They're being trashed everywhere. So, what happens? You start trashing the teachers. You start cutting back on their resources. You do away with things that actually grow minds, like music instruction and liberal arts and poetry and literature, and you just teach to the test. You turn schools into factories. You make them awful. You make them not work, and they start failing. These conservatives on these school boards have succeeded in the past decade or two in causing our schools to crash and burn. And now they're saying, well, here's the solution. Let's turn them over to private for-profit corporations. This was the agenda all along. Destroy the system so you can say, hey, look, the system's broken. Give it to us. Then take it over, then make money on it. And once there's no more public schools, you're seeing this in Chicago right now. Once there's no more public schools, who's left standing? Walmart.